So you're living in LA at the moment. How are you finding it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you know that?
Cool.
Have you been going through my bins?
Yeah, all the time. I'm that person. But how are you
Because I've
finding
been
it?
throwing out a lot of dirty negligees recently, so I'm sure you've got a lot of stuff to. Sorry, go on.
I know, but how are you finding it over there?
Yeah, you know, I like it. It's very sunny and it's a fun town. You know, you're just kind of spoiled for choice as a human being living there. You know, lots of variety, lots of fun, lots of hiking.
Great.
You know, lots of toy dogs to kick. You know, when their owners aren't looking. So yeah, it's good fun.
And what was it about the script of The Road Within that made you want to make the film?
I think it's because the character in The Road Within, you know, aside from the fact from being the leading character, is a character who sort of had to contend with great tragedy in his own life and sort of was an outsider looking in, you know, in the sense that had this debilitating illness that kind of you know, made him separate from the rest of society, made him an outsider. And I think it's fun to play outsiders, you know. I mean, it's fun to explore outsiders. So I think the fact that he was an outsider sort of appealed to me.
Cool. And your character has Tourette's. Now, were you a little bit apprehensive about taking on the role because there's a responsibility to kind of do that justice?
Yeah, you know what, lucky for me, from the point that I was sort of cast in the film to the point where we actually started shooting, we had about a 5-month period. So it was a great time to kind of have the character clacking around in my head, but it was also a great time to sort of conquer the Tourette, or to sort of make it my own, you know, personalize having Tourette syndrome. And you know, we went from intensive bouts of rehearsal to going off and doing other stuff, and then coming back, and then after sort of conquering the Tourette's and sort of coming up with my own tics that were, which you know, all people who have Tourette's sort of express it in very individual ways. You know, it's very sort of creative in that way. So I had to sort of come up with my own sort of tics and stuff. And then after that, and it was great. The timing was great because then myself and the director and the other two central characters started collaborating and rehearsing and stuff, and I was really sort of comforted by the fact that I had all these months before we started the rehearsal of the drama of the scenes, you know.
And I was watching an interview with the director, and she was saying that she gave you a 3-take max on each scene. Did that put you under like insane pressure, or was it okay?
Well, you know, there's always a bit of pressure, but the 3-take thing didn't put us under too much pressure, because I suppose we'd done a couple of weeks of rehearsal together. We'd gone through the script with a fine-tooth comb, you know. We knew the thing backwards, and so filming it was just sort of another step in that thing. So that alleviated the pressure.
And you know, you, Zoe Kravitz and Dev Patel, it really seems like you really clicked. So when it's such an intensive thing filming it, do you really miss them then when it's all over?
Yeah, you know, I mean, it's a really bizarre job, because, like, I mean, the job of being an actor, because you come together on a job. Everybody feels passionate about a project. You give it your all. You kind of become a weird little family who sort of move around together and sort of give everything to each other, and then you just go off and you do it with someone else. It's very much like being dramatic harlots. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, no, it's great. It's lovely, you know. But it's sort of like herding cats. So it's nice to work together, and it's nice to miss them after.
Robert, lovely to meet you. Thanks a million for joining us today.
Lovely to meet you, Joe.ie folks.
Thanks, that's what everyone calls me. Forget my first name. So, congratulations on The Road Within, brand new film, celebrating it here at JDF. Can you tell us a wee bit about the film and your character,
Yeah, the film Road Within, initially it's about a guy who has, young guy who's really debilitating Tourette syndrome, and he's lived with his mother for years. And in the beginnings of the film, his mother has died, and we sort of learn that him and his mother have been codependents, and she has ultimately drank herself to death. And so he's kind of thrust into the care of his father, who then kind of sticks him into an experimental treatment clinic, kind of throws money at the problem, you know, and in there he meets two other characters who are central characters of the film. One has OCD and germophobia, a guy, and a girl who has bulimia. And the three of them then sort of escape the clinic and then kind of find themselves on a road trip west to the Pacific Ocean. And in that sort of trip, in that quest, they sort of, in a way, learn to manage their various ailments a little bit better.
Your character, Vincent, has Tourette's. And how do you prepare for a role like that? Can you go method Tourette's and just practice it in your day-to-day life, or how do you prepare?
Yeah, that was it. I mean, there was a lot of practicing in my day-to-day life. The good thing about the thing was the fact that there was a 5-month period between getting sort of cast in the film to actually shooting it, due to, I suppose, due to scheduling and stuff and other actors. But it was great because I had the character, in the practicing of the Tourette's, we did intensively in different bouts throughout that 5 months, and the character was kind of clacking around my head loads. So I'm just really grateful that I had that time, because it was absolutely necessary. Because if I didn't have that time, I would have gone in half-cocked, you know what I mean?
Now, you were born in County Laois, is that correct?
Yeah, I was, yeah.
Can you describe your county in 3 words?
Laois is it's very fertile. It's got a great big, lovely, gigantic prison it's got all the the bits and bobs, the amenities, and it's sort of it was my kind of stomping ground as a child and an adolescent.
How do you take your tea?
Strong as your nan's tights.
Ever involved in a pub fight?
Yeah.
That's a yes.
Yeah, of course.
Did you win?
I mean, I was like peripherally involved, you know what I mean? In my early adolescence when I was grateful just to be in a pub.
Have you ever been naked in public?
Yeah. Actually, I was naked in public not that long ago. I was in India. I was on a beach, and an Indian fisherman ran up to me and objected massively to the fact that I was naked. It was quite early in the morning.
It was your buns of steel, was it?
It was more my, sort of slightly shrunken banana that was hanging out the front.
Would you rather fight 1 horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses?
100 duck-sized horses.
Your thinking behind that?
Because, if you're looking at a horse-sized duck, your initial thought is, I'm never going to beat this. But if you're looking at 100 duck-sized horses, you're going, I think I could take them down, like 1 by 1 or even 2 by 2. It's all about your attitude going in, you know what I mean?
Positive mental attitude.
Positive projections, man.
Robert, thanks a million for chatting to us today.